Hi, my name is Dana, and I'm known worldwide as being a marijuana guy. I was important in medical marijuana. But in the marijuana world, I'm known as that Ibogaine guy, because about halfway through the marijuana movement, we noticed we had a little problem with heroin, and we had a friend who had this drug from Africa that no one else knew about. Well, they knew about that it existed, but they didn't know that it could get people off of heroin overnight. Now that psychedelics has become a big subject of interest for a lot of people, Ibogaine is mentioned, but most people don't know that much about it. Everybody knows about magic mushrooms. Magic mushrooms are taking the country by storm, and soon, I guess, every single pot dealer in the world will also be offering magic mushrooms. What is Ibogaine? Ibogaine is from the Tabernanthe iboga. That's like Tabernanthe is like from the tabernacle, right? So it's a sacred plant. It comes from a plant in Africa. And it's Schedule 1, so it has to be smuggled into the United States. And it takes about at least 6 years to mature enough so that in the inner bark of the root there's usable alkaloid. So there is a huge controversy about whether we're depleting the rainforest. Actually, Howard Lotsof came up with a different way to make it from another plant that is not endangering the rainforest. So that's volcandra. A long time ago, apparently, maybe 20,000 years ago, people stumbled onto this. And they have traces of campfires where they had iboga bark 7,000 years old that they found. Well, what we're trying to do is we're trying to open up Ibogaine in every country in the world. And we're also trying to make this Parkinson's supplement available, which is a microdose with a little bit of CBD for tremor. And we're working on that now. I think what's really important to people is to know that Ibogaine is like a sticky Prozac. It's not like an LSD-like drug at all. LSD and the other ones, like psilocybin, work at something called the 2A serotonin receptor, which gives it that characteristic trippy effect. If you are know anything at all, you've taken some psychedelic drugs, and you would be really, you would find Ibogaine to be very different. Ibogaine is not as light, it's darker. You get to look into your past and look very acutely at things that happen to you without being that emotionally involved in them. And that's because you're looking from literally the front of your brain back to the back of your brain, through the part of your brain that is involved in dreaming. And so it has a dreamlike quality, and you don't get that upset, even though you may be accessing very traumatic memories. But I'm sure in the future people will invent stuff we can hardly even comprehend. Notice Joe Biden signed a presidential order to investigate a couple of psychedelic drugs, magic mushrooms and MDMA. And we thought that was a little unfair because Hunter Biden took Ibogaine for cocaine. And it seems to me that they should at least put Ibogaine on the list. Especially if you're really going to deal with the drug addiction problem. Ibogaine is the only thing that works for meth. And they've got a couple other things in the pipeline that don't work. And at the end of the day, Ibogaine is going to be the only thing that works for meth that they even know about now. So meth is a huge problem. There are twice as many meth users in the world as there are opiate users, 26 million versus 13 million. And it is not being addressed at all. And we're going to big philanthropy, we're trying to address Bill Gates or Peter Buffett and say, why don't you, give away some of the money that you're giving away and address crystal meth. We are investigating it now for Parkinson's disease, not only for post-traumatic stress disorder, but for actual brain injury from blast effects. And it actually regenerates missing receptors and missing dendrites that you may have lost due to like a stroke. Meth is like a long-term traumatic brain injury. So that's the reason it works for meth craving. Meth craving is a deficiency, but you lost some cells there because of the meth, dude. So you gotta like have something. And you could go into rehab and do a lot of weightlifting and eat good foods for 18 months. Or you can try Ibogaine, which is an ordeal in itself, and you have to put effort in before and after it. But we don't use the Pony Express to get to the West Coast anymore. See ya.